Hello everyone, George DeSantis here with a look at the market for the week ending Friday, February 12th, 2021. And as usual, before we begin to look at markets, look at charts, etc., bring up the disclaimer which we need to look at. I advise you to understand from your reading of it that I'm not a professional investment advisor. And if you need a professional investment advisor, you should seek one. I'm a licensed psychologist and I do this for my own purposes, and it's in the form of a YouTube video, and anyone can take a look at it, do whatever they wish with it. So we'll begin to look at the market by taking a view of the general market using the S&P 500, and then we'll proceed to some individual stocks, etc. So we'll start to look at some charts, and we start as usual with the S&P 500 or weekly chart. And you can see from the moving averages here, you can see the 4 exponential moving average, or the 4 EMA, is above the 9 exponential moving average, and that is above the 30 front-weighted moving average. And so insofar as these moving averages are concerned, we have an uptrend because of the relationship between these. When the shorter terms are above each other, in other words, this is 4, this is 9, this is 30, we get an uptrend. Okay, we still have an uptrend which began all the way back here. That uptrend began all the way back here, back in May or earlier than that. Well, we say around May when the 4 crossed over the 9 here, and it hasn't breached that since. It hasn't crossed back below the 9 since. So anyway, what we are seeing in addition on the chart is that the parabolic went positive here, bullish, and it still remains bullish. And in fact, the gap between the bar and the parabolic has gotten wider, so it gives us a little more confidence that the parabolic is indicating an uptrend, and that's basically what we got. We continue to have, I should say. Now you will see this more clearly on the daily chart, but I did plot the Fibonacci extension or projections, and the first target we had on the daily chart was 3942. This here, first target 3942. But that's when we had plotted it from this bar to that bar. Now we move the plot up to the most recent bar, the high of the most recent bar, and we have a target of about 4,000. 3995 is a little more exact. 3995 or so. Okay, that's about where it is, right there. So we do have a target now of approximately 4,000, and that's where we stand. Now, let's see what else we see up here. Oh, we came pretty close to that 2 standard deviation line a number of weeks ago, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and we consolidated those gains, and then we went higher with almost a bullish engulfing candle here, and now we have another bullish candle that is making even new highs. If we go down to the average directional index, which gives us some indication of what the trend looks like, you can see that the histogram is still on an uptrend, and the DI plus is above the DI minus. So this is supporting the interpretation of an uptrend here, which is not difficult to see, if you're familiar with any of these conventions of plotting charts. Now, go down to the MACD, the 1226.9, and we still have that bearish divergence of MACD. But what seems to be occurring here now is that the bulls are getting stronger because the MACD histograms are getting taller. The histogram bars, right? They're getting taller. They're getting longer or taller, right? Even on the 1939.9. So it might very well be the case that we don't see that bearish divergence materializing into anything like a downtrend, a major downtrend. So, well, of course, all that to be determined. However, this is where we stand with the weekly chart. Now, I've been looking at a chart provided by Jake Bernstein, The parameters are here. You have a 10 week moving average, 10 period, or in this case, a 10-week moving average of the highs and an 8-week moving average of the lows. And that gives us a channel between the green and the red line, okay, the highs and the lows. And one of the things that I learned from Jake Bernstein is that he has a couple of buy signals that he uses. For example, when two complete bars are above the 10-week moving average of the high, as they are here, well, not quite. Well, by the time we got here, we had two complete bars. And we had a setup down here where the accumulation distribution line was above the 57-week moving average. And that setup, we were waiting for a trigger. And once we had these two complete bars, that was a trigger that for a buy signal. So if we bought here, we wrote it up. And if we didn't, we wait until it pulls into the channel again, especially to the bottom of the channel, according to Jake, and then we buy again. So we either buy here or we buy here, and we ride it all the way up. And what we had 3 weeks ago was another buy signal at the bottom of this channel, and that's one of the conservative buy signals that Jake Bernstein uses. So this confirms what we are seeing, folks. So let's turn to a daily chart of the S&P 500. And now we usually do the same thing. We take a look at the exponential moving averages and the front-weighted moving average. So they're above each other like we saw on the weekly chart. Don't need to go through the details on that again. But the other thing we're seeing here is that this bar and this bar, this previous bar, in other words, Thursday and Friday, these two bars compose what is called in candlestick technology um, a bullish engulfing candle. So this is bullish. It's the fact that the body of this bar, and it's what is called a doji bar with a very small body, but that is totally engulfed by this bar. So this is all very bullish too on the daily chart. The other thing we can note on the daily chart is that, as I mentioned some last week or even before that, I mentioned that when we got very high here up near the 2 standard deviation line, the Bollinger Band, that we would probably consolidate, and that's basically what you're seeing here. If you go back in time, you'll see that whenever we get to about 2 standard deviations or somewhat higher than that, we tend to consolidate those earnings. The probability of going higher immediately is reduced then by the time we hit 2 or 3 standard deviations. So we consolidate the move, and now we're getting ready to go higher. And if we look at parabolic is still below the most recent bars, and it's below the most recent, which is Friday's bar. So we still have an uptrend insofar as parabolic is concerned. And on the ADX indicator, the ADX itself has trended down. We would like to see that begin to move up again because that will tell us that we are getting more strength in the trend. But we still have DI plus over DI minus. So insofar as ADX is concerned, I don't think we need to be too concerned that is weakening. In other words, the histogram is getting shorter and shorter. We are likely, if all else is in place, MACD is trending up, and we have the moving averages here. So this is likely to move up again. The histogram is likely to get taller and taller, okay, or longer and longer. We got a buy signal here on MACD on the 1226.9. This is what we take buy signals from, this particular MACD. So we could have taken it earlier here or here, but if we didn't, this is the more conservative buy signal when it turns green and goes above the zero line, and that's what it did here. So this was a buy signal. If we took that, and on the 1939.9 indicator, MACD indicator. It's been trending up just as the other one is, and now it's above that zero line. And so I would say we have more evidence that this market wants to push higher. Okay, so let's turn now to some other charts. So before we turn to individual stocks, here are some market indicators from Barron's this past weekend. And the first thing is that we could see here is that the transports, the Dow Transportation Index, is confirming the new highs of the Dow Industrials, and so that's bullish. That's called Dow theory when the transports are confirming the new highs here. The utilities are flat. They've been trending down, even though this is the time of the year when utilities tend to move up. You know, until about the middle of the year, utilities tend to go up. So we should see a movement up here, but it's not there yet. Now, the market insider transactions have once again turned more bearish. Insider transactions. And the market sentiment is still in pretty euphoric area here, still in a pretty high level. And this is simply the TED spread. Um, and this is the put call ratio, and it's still in bullish territory. So enough said about that. We know this market's still looking pretty bullish. So let's turn to Shaken Analytics and take a look at some individual stocks, as we usually do. When we open up Shaken Analytics, it's currently, when they added this dashboard feature to the program, it opens up then on this dashboard, and it will choose any one of these watch lists that you have. You can then see what the dashboard is indicating from those watch lists. Okay, and the dashboard simply tells you what percentage increase there's been in the current day, if it's today's data, or in the last week. You can see what the percentage increases have been. Okay, so I'll put it back on one day. What I want to do is what I've done here is taken quite a few of these lists that I have, and I've consolidated, made up a new list, calling it A Bull for February 15, which is today's date, but I really meant the 16th, which is trading for on Tuesday, tomorrow. Today is Monday. And we can take a look at some of the charts. You can see that these stocks that are still indicated oversold, and for the most part, some of them are not quite oversold, but you can see that they are up quite a bit on Friday. And if you look at the weekly performance of those, you could see that many of these are up nicely, you know. So this is what I've done. Okay, I've taken them now and said, okay, what about if we buy them? Should we buy them on Tuesday? Should we look at them for Tuesday's trading? And let's take a look. Let's take a look at the workspace. So we'll go down the list. This is an electrical equipment company, Babcock and Wilcox, and you can see that it has a nice looking chart recently. The relative strength has increased and has improved. It's very strong. It's very bullish, and money flow has come in here in a big way, and it was oversold and is trending up. So the stocks at the top of the chart are the ones that I would usually look at more seriously than the ones at the bottom, but I make exceptions. I own some of them, like Apple, at the bottom of the chart. So let's take a look. If you want to, and I will send this list to you because I've taken a picture of it already, but you can take a picture of it with your cell phone and have that list available to you. But I will forward that together with the look at the market to you. I already did to the family group that meets on Sundays. But anyway, the second stock we look at is International Paper. It was oversold. And if we look at the checklist, you can see that it's optimal in terms of its whether you should be buying it now or not. And it's an optimal buy here. It's already ticked up, and it's already coming off of the 200-day average, and now looking to come off the 21-day average. So international paper looks pretty good here. This one is oversold. This is Lionsgate Entertainment. It's oversold. It had a nice run up. The relative strength turned positive again, and money flow is still positive, and it's rated very bullish. So it's looking to come off the 21-day average once again. This one here is an electrical equipment company. I don't own it. I'm not familiar with it, but it is oversold, and you could see what the chart looks like. Very similar. You have a very strong checklist here. Everything all green on the screen, as they say. It hasn't really ticked up here yet, but it's looking to, I would say it's going to bump off that 21-day average. I'll go through these and we'll see how much time we have. I have unlimited, not unlimited, but I have more time now on these videos. I arranged to have more than 15 minutes, so we're already at 16. In any case, MKS Instruments, a semiconductor company, you can see that that was oversold and it's now in the neutral territory, but it's rated very bullish also, and it's coming off the 200 and now the 21-day. This stock I bought recently. It's one of those stocks that are involved in the 5G business. It changes personality here, going from negative to positive in terms of relative strength, and it's also very bullish, and I own it at this time. Um, Thermo Fisher, you can see that it seems to be bumping off both the 200 and the 21-day average. Although I don't particularly care for stocks that in this sort of a trading range, it's looking interesting here. And you know, this money flow doesn't impress me either. So it's not one of my favorite choices here, but it's very bullish and it could go higher. DDS I own, Dillard's. I own Dillard's. I traded it and, I bought it, sold it, and now it's at the 21-day average, and I bought it again somewhere in here. And you can see that it's very oversold, and it's also bullish, and the money flow seems to be gaining some strength here. So I do own it at this time. This one I don't own, but it's one of these internet type stocks, I believe. You could see the change of personality here, and it was not oversold, but it seemed to be trending up here nicely again, and that's why I included it. It seemed to be really nicely trending up. Here is Land's End, and it was oversold and has been trending up. And I like the fact that it's coming back off of this 21-day average. The lithium ETF, global lithium ETF, not oversold anymore, but still continuing to trend up. So that's interesting. Eli Lilly, it's oversold, and it's somewhere around that 21-day average, looking to go higher. Was up 2.3% recently on Friday, and it's all green on the screen. So I have Lilly as one of my, if I wanted to add a stock to my portfolio, this is one that I might add. I own this RBBN. It's in the 5G business too. And you can see it's got some real good strength here. It's not oversold, but I put it on a list because I own it and I wanted to show you. We bought it somewhere in here and it rallied up and now it's pulled back a little bit. So it's looking like it wants to continue to go higher. If we go down to some other ones, this one here is oversold, I believe, was oversold very recently. And now it seems to be pulling back, you see, into this buy spot here, just above the 21-day average. Williams Sonoma, the next one, that is oversold. And it's now sitting at the 21-day average. So it's really worth a look. I own Apple. I have a significant holding again. And notice it's now oversold again. So I'm looking for it to rally off of those levels there. This is a Canadian solar. It was oversold and it's trending up. Money flow is pretty good. It's rated neutral, but it doesn't mean you can't buy a stock when it's neutral. Disca, I traded for a nice gain and it pulled back, but I didn't buy it early enough. I'm not sure if I want to buy it right here, but it's still oversold and it's had a nice run. And the personality change was good here. So I might just buy it here or wait for another pullback. Uh, Illumina, that's one of those biotech, life sciences tools. It's changed its personality, and you could see it had a really parabolic move here. And so I would wait for pullback somewhere in here, somewhere around 450 again, if it gets there. Now this one, Keysight Technology is involved in 5G as well, and you can see it was oversold and has trended up from the 21-day average, but it looks as though it could go much higher. Looks as though it could go higher. Teladoc is one of our lockdown stocks for the lockdown. It looks like if it's changed personality again and look like if it's want to give a little more emphasis here, a little more upside. This one is a biotech, and it's been on our tier, and it's been oversold and it's trending up. I don't own it, but it's a very nice looking change of personality. So I'm keeping my eye. If it pulls back a little bit, I'll probably take a stab at it. I still own Jumia, but it's come back a bit here recently. I didn't sell it because it's approaching that oversold region, and I could probably hold on because the relative strength is still so strong. And lastly, Peloton. You can see that Peloton came back into the 21-day average, and it was oversold and is trending up. So those are the stocks, folks, that I think we could keep an eye on for the coming week. And I hope you have a great and successful week. So we'll call it a quits for tonight. Thank you for listening.